Hi, my name's Ross Miller and I'm delighted to be able to share an online concert with you this evening. I was delighted to be asked along by the Linlithgow Folk Festival Association to provide this concert, and I hope you enjoy the next 45 minutes or so of music. So we're going to kick straight off with the first track from my debut album, which is called Reels. first tune there was one of my own compositions, and it was called D Major Mackenzie, and that was written for my flatmate in Glasgow for a couple of years, who's called Ryan Mackenzie, and he's lives in London now and plays with Pixie Lot and stuff, so he's quite famous, and I'm just here playing my bagpipes. And he would practice this piece by Rachmaninoff called the D Major, so therefore D Major Mackenzie. The second tune is one of my own tunes. It's called Rona's Reel, and that's about my little sister. And she was excited when this tune got played on the radio because it was more jazzy than Mum and Dad's tunes, which are later in the album. And the final tune is one by my good friend and the guitarist playing with us today, called Craig Irving, and the tune is called Mornington. And that's about the suburb of Melbourne in Australia, where he lived for a couple of years whilst he was growing up. I'm going to continue on now with a set called Walka, which is 2 waltzes and 2 polkas. The first one is called Richard's Gone Bananas, and that was written by Terry Tully, who was the pipe major of the St Lawrence O'Toole pipe band from Dublin, and that was written about the pipe major from the Field Marshal Montgomery band from Belfast, and it's about him losing the rag a little bit. The second tune was one of my own, called That Little Bit Extra, and that was just to finish a set in one of my uni things, and we've put it into the middle of this set. And then there's 2 polkas. The first one is a tune from France, in Brittany, in the north of France, by a guy called Tanguy Sicard, and he is the pensioner, or the leader, of the Bagad Cap Caval pipe band, or Bagad Cap Caval Ensemble, which we would call pipe band here. And I played with them. I was very lucky to play with them at the Lorient Festival in 2019, where we won the Breton Championships, and it was amazing. My best piping experience ever. And the final tune in the set was written by an American and a Canadian musician, Ben Miller and Zach Cormier, and they wrote this tune. It's called Laurie the Blaster. So we're going to continue on now with the threes set. There are 3 tunes in this set and they all have 3 beats in the bar, so that's the connection. The first tune is called Chloe's Passion for Willie Macaulay by Dr. Angus MacDonald, one of the 3 famous piping MacDonald brothers from the Outer Hebrides. I actually played this tune in a competition for Dr. Angus last week and he was very complimentary, although I didn't win the competition. We'll then continue on with a tune called Angus John McNeill of Barra, which on the music is by Angus John McNeill of Barra, so I'm not quite sure what the story is there. And then the final tune in this set is called The Raft Race, which is by Hamish Napier, a great flautist and pianist from Granton-on-Spey. And he's just done a 3-album series out of 5 about the area that he lives in. And it's a great album. He won Album of the Year at the Trad Awards last year. The start of this set showcases the talents of the wonderful Charlie Stewart on fiddle. And yeah, he's playing alongside me and Craig Irving for this one. So here we go with the threes set. The next set of tunes we're going to play begins with the Strathspey called Lucy Campbell's. And if you're a piper out there, you might recognise this as Lady Loudon. I learned this from my flatmate, and he was out in Cape Breton for a while, immersing himself in the music, I guess, and studying out there. So they have a version, a fiddle version of this tune, which I thought was really cool and slightly different, so it's recognisable but also a little bit different. And then the second Strathspey is also a similar vein. Pipers might know it as Struan Robertson, but here we're going to call it the Red-Haired Girl of Tullach, because the dots and cuts are split in a different way, which I guess is a bit technical, but if you're a musician out there, you might know what I'm speaking about. And then we're playing another tune by Dr. Angus MacDonald. It's called Coinach Ekin Stuur, which means Kenny at the wheel. So I don't know if that's the steering wheel or if it's the spinning wheel or whatever he's been at the wheel of, but Kenny's at the wheel of something. So here we go with Strathspey and Reels.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
So I thought it would be rude to not take the opportunity to play a set on the big pipes for you and maybe slow things down a little bit as well. So the first tune I'm going to play here is called Eileen Miller's March, and that was written for my mum. And it's a 4/4 march, and it's quite a chilled pace. And then following on from that, I'm going to play a tune that I wrote for my dad's 60th birthday called Not to 60 in 21,600 Days. And that both of these tunes feature on the album again, and I play along with a pianist called Rory Matheson. And this set together is known as Mum and Dad's. Back to the quieter pipes now after that big pipe session. So we're going to continue with a set called Accidental Belterism. The first tune in this set is a hornpipe by great piper or composer called Archie Kenneth, and he was a huge collector of pibroch materials for the Pibroch Society in the 1900s, and he also wrote a few great tunes as well. So this is one of them. It actually sounds quite modern and like it could have been composed 2 weeks ago. So I think that's very cool about this tune. So it's called The Whistler. The second tune is one of my own. It's called Chris Lee's Camper Bolanos. And I played in an international quartet for a couple of years with a piper from Edinburgh called Callum Kay, a piper from Hong Kong called Chris Lee, and a piper from Brittany called Enora Maurice. And we were out in Camper in Brittany playing at a competition and a concert there at Christmas time a couple of years ago, and we had a slight disagreement about what the name for bananas was, and Chris seemed to think that it was called Bolanos. So this is Chris Lee's Camper Bolanos. And the final tune in the set is called Accidental Belterism, which is where the set gets its name from. Accidental Belterism doesn't mean anything. I think it was just a turn of phrase somebody used one day and it kind of stuck. So this is another one of my own tunes called Accidental Belterism. So we've come to the penultimate set of this evening's online concert, and it's about time to peddle some wares to you. So the first thing I would like to draw your attention to, and if you've been enjoying the music and you think, and you play any instrument, you think, I could play along with that. I actually have a book, I have a solution, and it has all of the music that we've played this evening exactly as it was played on the album. Not necessarily how it was played this evening, and that was a bit more of a live thing, but definitely how it was played on the album. I spent days and hours going through and picking the exact grace notes if you're a piper, and you can get right into that as well. But if you're any kind of musician, there's also the stories about the tunes and lots of photos of my piping journey so far there as well. And then I also have my album as well for sale, which is called The Roke, and I'll speak a little bit about that in a while. But yeah, I thought I would make you aware of them. So the penultimate set we're going to play is called I Write. Not as in I write things down, as in I write. So yeah, the first tune is called Leaving Arasaig, which was written by Canadian piper and pipe major of the first overseas band to ever win the World Pipe Band Championships, Bill Livingston. He was the pipe major of the 78th Fraser Highlanders. And then we're going to play a Gaelic push to Bial called Biar Maravami Nuri, and then finishing off the set with the tune that is titled after I Write by Angus Grant Jr., the late great fiddle player from who played in the band called Shugal Nifty. Those of you who are fans of the Linlithgow Folk Festival or regular attenders might have actually heard us play basically that set a few years ago when myself and Charlie played as a duo at the Songs and Reels at the Rose concert. That set's grown arms and legs, and you'll hear on the album it certainly sounds different to that, and it's a big epic finish. And yeah, I also played it in the Young Traditional Musician of the Year final as well. I should also mention that Charlie is the Young Traditional Musician of the Year for 2017 as well. So I'm an esteemed company. Craig played with the bands Manran and Talisk as well. If you want to check those guys out, that would be great. So we've come to the final set, and it's I'll speak a little bit about that in a second. But I'd just like to say a huge thank you to Murdy and Neil and Jonathan and everyone in the Linlithgow Folk Festival Association for having me along to play this. And I really hope that we can get back to some kind of in-person offering next year, and I hope everyone's having a good weekend at the festival if you've managed to make it along to some of the events. I believe they were having a session in the Borough Halls and the Rose Garden and things as well, so that sounds like great fun. I will leave you now with the title track of my debut album, which came out just before lockdown. The album's called The Roke. The first tune in the set is called The Roke, The Row and The Wee Pickle Tow, which is the town tune of Linlithgow that I'm required to play in my role as Town Piper on March's Day, and when we check the boundaries of the town. And then the second tune is one of my own tunes. It's called The Tram Over the Rhine, and that was written after a trip to Switzerland with the National Youth Pipe Band of Scotland a few years ago. It actually probably was one of the first tunes that I ever wrote, so it's quite nice that these two tunes are together. And this set is called The Roke. Thanks very much for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the concert, and really hope we see you soon at some point in the future.